At about 15 minutes past the hour, talked about the story yesterday. It's still developing on Capitol Hill, and frankly, we don't know how the vote's going to come out. The Democrats in the country's biggest unions are pushing for a bill that would kill a worker's right if you're a member of a union to vote in private when it comes to unionizing at your shop. It's a high priority for the labor union. The movement itself has spent $67 million to elect Democrats last year. But many in the private sector says it will cost jobs and maybe yours. Jerry Gorski, National Chairman of the Associated Builders and Contractors, my guest on this. You don't like this at all, do you?
No, this unfortunately named bill, the Employee Free Choice Act, takes away a worker's right to that secret ballot, the fundamental American right to vote in private when it comes to being represented by a union or advancing on your own merit.
It kind of goes against that whole thing we call a democracy in a lot of ways. In 15 seconds, tell me why the unions are so keen on getting this, Jerry.
Well, the simple fact is they've been losing these elections. The process has been in place for more than 70 years, and it works. Unfortunately, in recent times, the unions have been losing elections, so they want to change the rules so that an organizer can intimidate workers, coerce workers, and get them to make a decision right there in front of the organizer.
So that's the fear if this thing goes through. But you believe that it's actually going to cost us jobs and maybe even cost union jobs. How so? Explain that position.
Well, there's no question that it's going to cost jobs, because right now when our nation needs to be in a job creation mode, we need to have stable private businesses to provide those good jobs. And this is going to change the way that business negotiates these labor contracts. There's two pieces that happen in this legislation. One is that worker loses the right to a private ballot. The second piece is the business loses the ability to negotiate a labor contract because the labor contract is determined by binding arbitration in this legislation. So they don't have the ability to negotiate. It's binding arbitration set by a government arbitrator.
I'm still trying to understand why the unemployment rate would go higher. I don't understand that clearly just yet.
Okay, well, let's just take my business, the construction business, as an example. I'm working on jobs that are going to happen a year, 2 years from now. So I have an idea of what my labor costs are and what my work rules are, and I can go ahead and negotiate those contracts. If this legislation passes, a federal arbitrator comes in and sets that labor contract, not just the cost of labor, but also the work rules, and it's going to change the game, and it would lose a business's ability to work on those jobs that are a year, 2 years, 3 years out.
So it's almost like having a babysitter that's going to come in and tell you how to do your job and how to run your business and what contracts you can take and what you can't. By the way, in general,
that's correct.
How is the market out there for guys like you? The word I get, the private contractors are getting slammed.
It's a tough credit market, and you know, money's tight, and when people are building buildings and building big improvements, they need credit. Businesses, private owners need credit, but there's still work happening, and we're fortunate to be able to keep our employees working, have flexible people who are willing to do multiple jobs, and keep our workforce in place.
I think it's
this
really
kind of legislation changes all that.
Yeah, listen, I don't know if it's good, if they've got the votes in the Senate. I mean, from what I'm hearing in D.C., it's like that close, Jerry. So thank you for your time today out of Philly, okay? Jerry Gorski, appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Bill.
I know you can hear me now. See you later.